गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। ॐ योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादि प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। We saw that यल्लब्ध्वा पुमान् सिद्धो भवति अमृतो भवति तृप्तो भवति. Such a person, such a devotee is fulfilled with the love that is gushing forth within his bosom, and as a result that feeling itself is a fulfillment in itself. He does not need anything else, he does not want anything else, he does not desire anything else, and as a result, and as this wonderful satisfaction of this loving devotion which is in his bosom itself is enough for him, and therefore trupto bhavati, he is contented and is satisfied. He is from within, he has gained all that is to be gained, he is rich, he has got all the wealth that he wants, which is this loving devotion towards the Lord. Yat prapya na kinchid vanchati na shochati. Yat prapya na kinchid vanchati na shochati. Na dveshti na ramate notsahi bhavati. Yat prapya na kinchid vanchati na shochati. Na dveshti na ramate notsahi bhavati. Having attained which, that is devotion, he cares for nothing, never grieves, never hates, never delights in anything, and he finds no urge or enthusiasm for the sense enjoyments. Such is this devotee. But not just because you are singing bhajans. The feeling inside in your heart, only that will make this happen. See, there is such a devotee, when he becomes utterly fulfilled from within, then a new way of living begins for him. And that is called an intuitive way. That intuitive way is the divine way. Now he is no longer living life as a will. There is a willful living and there is an intuitive living. Willful living is, I must do this to procure this. I must desire, therefore I must do this. But in this life, where the attention is only on the fulfillment within your bosom, and that fulfillment is not to procure anything, not to desire anything, but enjoying continuously, getting soaked in this devotion in the heart. Then in such a person's life, this intuitive living, a harmonious living, automatically gets inaugurated. You cannot make it happen, it happens. And this is the new, how should we say, it's a new order of living. Our way of living is, we must control the circumstances in order to be at peace. But such a person, he is already at peace. Therefore, he does not insist on any, does not impose any order on anything, control on anything. And therefore, whether he is a Sudama who is in extreme penury, extreme poverty, and yet does not give up his love for the Lord Krishna. And eventually he goes to Krishna. So such a person who has experienced this fulfillment within, in his heart, for such a person, whatever the circumstances may be there in life, good or bad, he is not affected by them, he is not giving any value and attention to them, he is not available to them. They may be there. I gave you the example of Mirabai. See? Otherwise, what will happen? We'll tell you in another story after some time. That's in the next verse. And therefore, how can there be an attraction? Yat prapya, having gained which, having gained that utter fulfillment, na kinchit vanchati na shoshti. He does not desire anything, he does not think about anything, he does not get attracted by anything, he does not get tempted by anything, because his heart and his mind are completely overwhelmed, full of this devotion, loving devotion towards the Lord. And how do you practice this loving devotion? Only by chanting His name. Not by thinking of the Lord. Again, thinking will not take you anywhere. Thinking will not take you anywhere. It has to be only, head and the heart have to match. Head is making a decision, I must chant the name of the Lord, and that can be supported only by the heart. If it is just becomes a mere remembrance, nothing happens. But it reaches its fulfillment only when the heart supports that head, or the heart is supported by the head, both ways. And in this way, na kinchid vanchati na shosh, na dveshti na ramate notsahi bhavati. See, there is, one is called grief, and that grief is, here the word given is that na shochati. What is this grief? Grief is the feeling of disappointment that we feel when something that we have is taken away from us. That is grief. Now think what all things are there in your life which have brought about grief. Losing someone, the car is written off, the children don't listen to you the way they used to listen when they were young, they answer back. That is grief, isn't it? Brings about grief. The body does not listen to you. Before you could sit for 3 hours, now it needs to put one leg down. Sometimes the mind listens to you, sometimes the mind doesn't listen to you. Grief. Yes, I was just feeling comfortable that the mind is listening to me, and now suddenly it's reacting. Why is this happening? That grief brings pain, isn't it? Come to recognize that anything that you have gained in life, that anything that you possess in life, anything that you have considered as your own in life, if it is from this creation, it will bring you grief. Because it is ephemeral, because it is changing, because it is finite. But this devotee who has become so fulfilled within his heart and head and mind and bosom, whichever way you put it, for him there is no time to grieve. Why? The mind and heart are continuously singing the name of the Lord. See? And therefore, na shochati means he does not grieve. He does not grieve anymore. Then na dveshti. What is dveshti? No hatred. What is hatred? What is hatred?
Extreme feeling of dislike.
Extreme feeling of dislike. Why do you feel extreme feeling of dislike? Because when things do not go according to the way you want, and those situations, those people start irritating you, that irritation eventually turns into hatred, isn't it? Huh? See? And we are immediately, then we want to get away from that person or that situation. We don't want to call them up, we don't want to, the moment that person enters the door, now how do I deal with this fellow? Isn't it? The Rakshasa has come. Or the demon has come. The devil has come. What do we do?
Show affection.
No. With the devil never show affection. That's what Parikshit did with Kali Yuga. He showed affection. He said, I am surrendered to you. Please give and your rule is anyone who surrenders to you, you give him some place in your kingdom. Because 17 times he had defeated Kali Yuga from entering his kingdom. And that time Parikshit was the emperor of the entire earth. And he did not allow the Kali to come and effect. And then 18th time, Kali Yuga came, he says, again you have come to be defeated? He says, no, I have not come to be defeated. Can't you see I am prostrating in front of you? I have come to surrender at your feet. He says, what? Surrender? No, get away. He said, no, your rule is, you can't change the rule. It took me 17 times of war to realize that I have to surrender. Because your rule is anyone who surrenders to you, you always give solace to that person. So I am surrendering. So he says, okay, you go and stay in brothels, in pubs and in gold. Immediately he jumped from there and got into his crown.
And bubbles of water.
Huh?
In the bubbles of water.
Okay. That is more, that is also said somewhere. So the moment he got into his crown, within few minutes, a crime was committed by Parikshit. The one who had never done anything wrong in life, who was very respectful towards saints and sages, towards or considered the entire population as his own children, immediately goes because he was thirsty. He goes to an ashram, he sees the person meditating, the yogi meditating, and he says, please give me some water. The yogi does not answer him. He takes a dead snake on the ground and puts it around his neck of the yogi and walks out in anger. Effect of the Kali Yuga. Because he was sitting on his head. The crown was of gold sitting on the head of Parikshit. And from there, the son of the yogi came to know that someone has done this. So without knowing who it is, he curses that within 7 days this fellow will die. And therefore we have Bhagavad Mahapuran. In those 7 days, Parikshit Maharaj goes and finds out who can tell me what I should do in these 7 days. So that same Vedvyas, his son Shukadev, he gives the lecture for 7 days on Bhagavad Mahapuran. So for this true devotee of the Lord, there is nothing to gain, there is nothing to grieve about, there is nothing to hate, there is no fear of loss, there is no, he does not even desire liberation, what to talk of anything else. That I am coming close to liberation, I must do see, nothing like that. He is absolutely calm, enjoying in that devotion. He does not, if the world takes away everything from him, still he does not react to that taking away, because he is fulfilled from within in this devotion towards the Lord. And therefore, na dveshti, na ramate, notsahi bhavati. And therefore, he, because of this being not available to the grief and not being available to the hatred, he sees everything as the divine Leela of the Lord. Only in a mind which has been withdrawn from the world and has got fallen in love with the theme of the Lord, this transformation of vision can come about. See, not by yourself. If you keep thinking, I have to change, something is wrong, I have to do something, I have to do something, I have to do something, nothing is going to happen. Only frustration is going to come. If at all in your mind this feeling comes, I have to do something, choose only one thing. Choose some thought which will take you to the divine. Let that be a japa, let that be om, let that be contemplation, keep repeating with joy, keep repeating it with devotion. Even those Vedantins who contemplate on who am I inquiry, if they don't do that with devotion, then there is no conclusion. And therefore, this person, because of no hatredness, and because as a result of that, he is not like a ice cube. Touch me not. Makes noise wherever he goes. He is melted away. He does not create a separate personality for himself wherever he goes. He mingles with everyone because he sees everyone as the expression of the divine. And therefore there is no hardness in him. Seeing a person's pain, he immediately melts. Namdev Maharaj, he was eating with Jnaneshwar Maharaj, and at that time he saw a dog eating food. He saw a dog coming towards him. He was just watching, and everyone is doing Brahma Arpanam Brahma, Brahma no Brahma, and then they are going to eat. Dog comes, take the chapati from him, from the plate. What would be Namdev's? What will be your reaction? Pick up a stone, throw at it. Get away from it. What did Namdev Maharaj do? He picked up like this. She gave me some ghee yesterday. He picked up the ghee that was in his plate and ran after the dog. He says, "Arey, eat with ghee, otherwise you will have stomach cramps because of the dry roti." This is devotion. Gondavlekar Maharaj, some of you who came with me to Gondavlekar Maharaj, one person had said, "Please take care of my house while I am gone. You don't mind?" He said, "No problem, anyway." Okay, sleeping. That night a thief enters and collects all the utensils. That time that's all the wealth that people had. He collected that, put it into a sheet and started. And at that time while he was collecting, Maharaj was sleeping, he heard some noise and immediately woke up. Moment he heard, the thief heard the noise, ran. And Gondavlekar Maharaj ran behind him. And he's running, and Gondavle Maharaj is also running. In the end, the thief became so exhausted, why this fellow is not getting tired. Because Gondavlekar Maharaj has another sheet, bed sheet, full of all other utensils from the house, and he's running after him. The thief, in the end, when he stopped, he says, "Why are you running after me?" No, you forgot all these. So I thought you need it more than I do, and people whom I am taking care of. So I thought, why you probably got afraid of my movement, so you ran away. I am running after you and catching you so that I can give you the rest. From that moment onwards, that thief became a devotee of the Lord. See? Our one word, our one action can bring about so much change in another person. Not that you are intending, but from a devotee's heart, only such type of actions can come about. No, na dveshti, na shochati, na dveshti. Sees the harmony, sees the Lord in everyone. Gopis, they keep saying, "Arey yaar, you talk about our duty towards husband, duty towards cows, duty towards the farms, but we can't, in our mind the only thought is that of the Lord. What can we do?" We are good for nothing, because he is our chitta chor. He has stolen away our mind. What can I do now? I can't do anything. Has the Lord stolen away our mind, or has the world stolen away our mind? These are the points to be to contemplate or assess. Before you go to sleep, think, how many times during the day the Lord stole away your mind? If it was only at the time of lighting the lamp, for 1 second, even at that time lighting the lamp, if 3 matchsticks were wasted to light the lamp, the thought comes, I will miss my train, quick! Isn't it? So, the heart of this true devotee is always dwelling in the in his Lord, and therefore, and this is the next point is na ramate, na dveshti, na ramate, notsahi bhavati, na ramate. Ramate means to revel. The mind of this devotee is not reveling in the world anymore. It's only reveling in the Lord, and only thinking of the divine. He gets a great fulfillment. He gets a great delight within his heart and mind, which is incomparable to anything else in this world. And therefore, if you see such people, they want to meditate again and again. Why? There is this feeling of joy inside. It pulls. Once you have tasted even a little bit of barfi. Yesterday someone bought some barfi. We tasted a little bit. Some more, then some more, then some more, then some more. Then didn't worry about other people. Same way. Once we have tasted, but that barfi is going to finish one day. Then misery. Why today nobody brought anything? But when we have tasted that nectar of devotion, that loving feeling, that feeling of fulfillment in our heart, then that keeps pulling us towards the seat of meditation. That keeps pulling us to chant the name of the Lord. And in that inward pull, you forget everything in this world. Therefore, this devotee is no longer available, his mind is no longer available to revel in the world. The world cannot make an impact on his mind, because the mind has already been taken away by the Lord. And for such a devotee, even when the situations are not conducive at the gross level, still he does not complain. He sees everything as the prasad of the Lord. See? See how much time we spend to gratify ourselves. We put so much effort, we discover new ways of getting involved in various activities, isn't it? So many. We keep discovering new. First it was lectures, then it was audio taping, then it was video taping, then it was website, then it was listen live on website. Now watch live on website soon will come. Then what? Don't do it. Just think and I'll telepathically transfer the whole lecture. Where does it end? Huh? When we keep getting involved and involved. Where does it end? First, we had a cycle, then we had a scooter, then we had a car, then we had a Mercedes, then we go back to cycle. Huh? Where does it end? And all this is because we are searching for that satisfaction, and we think that satisfaction can come by discovering new areas, traveling different countries, discovering new temples, reading new books, acquiring more and more idols of the Lord, bringing Mansarovar water and Ganga water. You can do that, no problem, but to do that and gets fixated. If someone by mistake, yeah, that bottle is here and you have kept it to give one drop to everyone, and someone comes, right? Thirsty, 41 degrees, how would you feel? That is the time to check whether you are attached to it or not. I just thought it is a bottle of water and to drink. Swamiji, I was thirsty. Don't you know I paid $3,000 to go and get it?
And I should bring some.
Huh? Now go and get it and replace it. So we know how to put efforts, we know how to discover, we know how to acquire. We know what is the meaning of possession, isn't it? But have we gone after that which can really give us satisfaction? Or are we continuing to sabotage our own satisfaction, our own contentment by going after that which can never give us that contentment and satisfaction? See? So self-effort is there, Purushartha is there. But Purusharth for what? People talk about duty, but what is your ultimate duty as a human being? Is it to take care of your parents? Is it to take care of your children? Is it to take care of building temples? Is it to clean the roads? Is it to be a social worker? Is it to collect charity and give it to the required people? Is it to open orphanages? Is it to build hospitals? All that is okay in its own place. But is that giving you satisfaction? Swamiji, we never did all that, so I don't know. But whatever you do in your life, you go to the temple once a week or once a month, you light a lamp every day, you chant a little bit of name of the Lord, you do your duties, and you think, as long as I am doing all this, I will be satisfied. But still there is an emptiness inside which is haunting us, which is screaming from within, complete me, fill me up. And that fulfillment cannot come without the grace of the Lord. That only a devotee knows what that fulfillment is. When his heart is filled with the love for the Lord, the tears are flowing, the thrill is taking place, he is ecstatic, exhausted. See? And therefore, only such a devotee lives a full life. And what is this life? Which is without interest for the world, without any enthusiasm for the world, without any inspired activity to gain anything from this world. We know what inspiration is, but are we inspired to take the name of the Lord? Or are we inspired? We got samosas for lunch. Really? Already started. He didn't smile, he didn't laugh the way he laughed just now when he heard the previous part of the lecture. But the moment he heard a samosa, the laughter is coming up. The joy of fulfillment. We are going to get samosas. See? These are the points to be noted by all of us. I am just making him an example. Huh? And therefore he gets intoxicated by this love that he's feeling in his heart. And in that intoxication, just like a drunkard is not able to think what is right and wrong, he is unaware of the traffic. This intoxicated devotee is unaware of the traffic of the world. The world is continuously approaching us in some way or the other. Thought, feelings and thoughts, feelings and objects. Objects, emotions and thoughts. Yeah. It's continuously they are coming towards us. But he is unavailable. Why? He is drunk. On what? On the name of the Lord. In the feeling of the divinity. And in this way, such a devotee continues to live in the world. We don't see any of the masters, any of the devotee, take Tulsidas, take Tukaram, take Jnaneshwar Maharaj, take Shankaracharya, take anyone. They have never left the society. They have lived in the society. They have lived in the world. And such a devotee also lives in the world. And yes, the world will at times demand attention from this devotee. But until unless you don't come to this, he comes to this realization, just like a bird on a pole, the bird's one leg is tied to the pole. The only place he can find peace and tranquility is on the top of the pole. But it sees the fruits lying, hanging from the trees, bananas here, grains lying there. So it flies from the pole. No, I must go and get there. Fruits. The string is only that long. Immediately falls. Again comes back. Comes to the top of the pole. Rests. Again he sees grains somewhere. Again flies. Again falls. Again comes back to the pole and finds peace. Keeps doing this again and again and again and again and again and again and again. There's two things. Either it will die out of exhaustion, which we all do, humanity, or that bird learns the lesson and comes to realize that the only peace is at the top of the pole. I don't have to run anything. The one who tied me to the pole will alone provide everything for me where I am. So this devotee also, he runs, sometimes initial stages, the mind runs out into the world to do this, to do that. But he keeps coming back to the love for the Lord, because he comes to realize there is no fulfillment in that. Then does he stop doing all the work? No, he still continues, unaware of what the consequences will be. Because action, all he knows is, I have to do the action. And that action will be prompted from within, depending upon what the world throws at me. So the world has thrown at me this situation, I have to perform an action. The action is talk about Narad Bhakti Sutra. But what is the consequence of that lecture? That who cares? What is the consequence? Whatever the consequence is going to be, that is going to be. I cannot think about what is going to be, isn't it? Because if I think about it, then I cannot do justice to what has to be done. My attention has gone into the future. But the text began with Athato, be in the now. So I have to be in the now, feeling that it is not me. Therefore, Yonta Pravishya Mama Vacham Imam Prasuptam Sanjeevayatya Gila Shakti Dharaswadamna Anyascha Hasta Charana Shravanatwada Deen Pranan Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam. That, O Lord, it is you who is speaking through this mouth. It is you who is hearing through these ears. It is you who are acting through this whole equipment. There is nothing that I can say I am doing. And remaining in that poise and then talking about it, remaining in that poise and then listening, then here and now the devotee is there, born. See? Then no special thing has to be done. And in this way, the devotee has got no place to go, no thing to achieve or gain in this world, and therefore the only place is his union, his aspirations for the beloved, the Supreme God, Divine. So he says, that's what is giving me satisfaction, I will stay with that. Sometimes he may get pulled out, but very quickly he realizes. We realize every year, 1 week retreat. We realize every week that we must come to the satsang, because that keeps us on the track, isn't it? Some people say, Swamiji, the satsangs, for 2-3 days it's okay, but then the world enters. So I need another satsang after 2-3 days. That is only because we have not discovered the satsang, the company of the truth within our heart. So either be an inquirer or be a devotee. If you inquire with devotion, you will be satisfied with yourself. If you devote your heart and mind to the Lord, the same satisfaction will be gained. And in this way, the 6th verse goes, Yajñātvā matto bhavati Stabdho bhavati Atma ramo bhavati Yajñātvā matto bhavati Stabdho bhavati Atma ramo bhavati. Having known which, that is the devotion, one becomes intoxicated, silent, and enjoys in the self. So beautiful when we start thinking about it. This intoxication, what happens when you get intoxicated? First thing is, you forget the sense of right and wrong. You forget that there is a world. You are in your own world, in your own mind, isn't it? And you want to get that whatever is intoxicating you is not enough. You want more. Whether it is liquid spirituality, whether it is love for the opposite sex, whether it is the car, or whether it is any object, whether it is travel, whether it is clothes, it's never enough. You want more, isn't it? Same is this devotee also. He wants more and more and more. And in that more of God's name, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, does not want to sleep, does not want to eat, does not want to get involved in the world, just remain in the remembrance of the Lord. A point comes because he is putting the effort in remembering the Lord, he gets exhausted. What's the second word that is told here? First is yad jnatva matto bhavati stabdho bhavati. So matto, having known this, that world does not have any, cannot give me any solutions, he stays with the Lord and gets intoxicated in the name of the Lord, eventually concluding in exhaustion. That exhaustion brings about, is given here as stabdho bhavati. He becomes silent. Silent to the world, silent to the inner promptings, silent to the desires. It's a potent silence. We become silent also in sleep. But this is not the dull and inert silence that we are talking about. It's highly volatile. It's pregnant with all possibilities. It is that silence. But those possibilities have not shown their hood yet. You are absolutely conscious of the silence. Nay, you are the silence. So he remains in that silence. And then the last part says is Atma Ramo Bhavati. First, see, these are the stages that are being given. So first you withdraw from the world. First you get intoxicated in your contemplation or the divine name. That divine name or contemplation exhausts the mind. You cannot decide that it is exhausted now. It gets exhausted of its own accord. How long will you keep on thinking? But intoxication makes you forget everything. Go cross all the boundaries in order to remember that beloved theme. And in that, when exhaustion comes, there is silence. Initially, so whether after a long period of 15-20 minutes, half an hour of chanting of Hamsa Shiva Soham, yesterday we did you experience the silence after that? Because you were exhausted. When you chant Om, same thing. See? Even listening can bring that about. Enough of listening, I don't want to listen anymore. And you go. As long as you do not allow other themes to enter and remain in that silence, good. So, so second step was stabdho bhavati. He enters into that deep silence, and the more he accesses, the more he gets intoxicated. That silence comes, and that silence now starts pervading his entire being. Same thing happens when we do meditation this morning. The silence between the two Oms. Initially, it only peeps. Slowly, slowly, it expands. It will only expand provided you are, your attention is on that silence. But if your attention is there, I have to do this, I have to do that, that silence you will not be able to stay in that silence. What happens when the silence comes? First, you observe that there is silence, isn't it? You observe that feeling, that there is nothing there. And the more you remain in that silence keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. The deeper it goes, the longer it will remain with you. If it is only superficial for a few minutes, few seconds, it's there and it goes away. And in that depth, what is the option that we give? You are the presence in that silence. Atma Ramo Bhavati, the third one. It becomes self-evident that the Lord and the self that I am, they are not separate to each other. The devotee comes to this recognition. Otherwise it would have told Gaudo Bhavati. It's written Atma Ramo Bhavati. Such a devotee then revels in his own self. See? because that self is not other than the divinity which he was intoxicated with. But self you cannot get to by thinking. It has to happen. It is there, yes. So, first was matto bhavati, intoxication, stabdho bhavati, silence. Continue to explore that silence to greater and greater depths, and eventually what will happen? If you maintain yourself in that silence without a thought that I am observing silence, it is inevitable for Atma Ramo Bhavati to happen. Provided you do not go to sleep, and provided you do not bring other thoughts into that silence. Atma Ramo Bhavati will happen. So this devotee who has sung the name of the Lord, danced and in ecstasy remembering the name of the Lord, he does not care whether he is in his room or on the street or in the temple, it does not matter. Once Jnaneshwar Maharaj, Mukta Bai, Nivrutti Nath, Namdev Maharaj, Gora Kumbhar, Shakumai, all these were at the same time. They were all singing in a temple. And the priest of that temple, it was a Shiva temple. And while they were singing, Chalo Hari Kirtan, Rama Krishna Hari Jai Jai, Rama Krishna Hari Jai Jai. And the tabla peti shuru ho gaya, and they are in ecstasy. The priest, where his attention is, how much dakshina is coming. Not enjoy the bhajan kirtan. He came and scolded all these. Because even like today, some people believe that these are saints, and some people will believe they are not the saints, isn't it? Some people believe Ammachi is a great saint, others will say, hey, she is not a saint. Some people will believe Sai Baba is a saint, others will say, no. So they have got their own reasons. So this priest was one of the other kind. He says, these fellows are stopping from the devotees coming to the Lord and doing their archana. And he went and scolded them. You go in somewhere else. This is not the place. You are creating too much noise, and I can't do my puja properly, and people are not able to concentrate on the Lord. Mahatma has got no insistence. They all picked up their tabla, petis, hands and everything, went to the back of the temple, because normally the temple is here, like our Nandi. Temple is here, compound is there. So they went to the back of the temple and they sat there, within the compound of the temple. And they sang, they are singing. 12 o'clock, he locked up the Lord inside the gate and went away. They are still singing, intoxicated. The Lord was not happy that this fellow took away or sent my devotees somewhere else. The whole temple turned within the compound. It's still there. The whole temple turned. Because these devotees, they were also, especially Namdev. Namdev was feeling, we are chanting the name of the Lord. It was so nice to look at the Lord and chant the name. It creates a different. Now, we have been sent out. Lord, what do we do? The Lord said, you don't have to do, I will do. He turned the whole temple around for their benefit. Similarly, if you go to Udupi Krishna, have you been? The Lord, you see, the Lord, the temple is, if this is the entrance where I am sitting and the temple is here, you can't see the Lord. The Lord has turned around because one Shudra devotee was not allowed to come in. So the Lord, there is a window at the back, the Lord turned to give him darshan from the window. So now, even today, the temple is like that only. If devotion was in the priests, every priest would be a realized master today. So don't confuse devotion as puja, havan, doing archana, doing sastranam. By making him do, he's chanted it for millions of times by now. But what change has happened? You have to do it yourself. You have to get intoxicated. Yet there are priests who have got intoxicated. This Namdev Maharaj, Namdev, great saint. If you see Guru Granth Sahib, his name is there a lot in Guru Granth Sahib. He was born to a
Taylor.
to a tailor. And every day the tailor used to do the puja, offer the milk and everything to the Lord, and then have his evening meal or afternoon meal, Naivedya. And one day he was busy, he told his wife, just tell Namdev. Namdev was a small boy, 7-8 years old. He said, tell him to offer the prasad. So maybe it was kheer or something. So this young child goes in, he does not know the ways of the world. He goes in there, he says, Lord, pranaswa, panaswa, vyanaswa, parents must have taught, or he just did the nevedyam, nevedayami. But saw the bowl of prasad is still full. He said, Lord, eat, no? The statue, where will statue listen? So, after some times, a few times he said, if you don't drink, my mother will get angry with me, my father will get angry with me that I brought prasad and you did not take it. Every day my father brings, you take it. That's why he brings it. And you leave something for us. But you are not taking, is there something wrong with me? Am I not ready? Am I not your devotee? Am I not doing it the right way? And in that frustration, in that few moments that he spent in front of the Lord offering that payasam, he became totally focused. He says, if you don't drink the milk, if you don't take the prasad, I'll break my head on this stone on which you are standing. And he took his head and was about to bang it. The Lord came quickly, drank. After he drank, naturally, after the Lord has given darshan, a person cannot be the same. He came back, Mom, Lord drank the milk. What? Patak. Not drank it. Last 20 years nobody has ever drunk, we keep drinking. And you go first time and he's drunk the milk. She didn't hit him. So she told her husband, she was scolding him. The husband who was with the customers, he heard, this fellow, he has done this. He said, okay, don't leave it. We'll tomorrow, again in the evening, we'll give him the prasad. Let's see what he does. We have to catch him red-handed. So again they gave him the milk. Again and from behind the door, he is watching. And lo behold, the Lord came out of the statue, drank the prasad, hugged Namdev and went away. And there and then the father went and fell at the feet of his son. That son, because of your unflinching devotion towards the Lord, I was able to have the darshan of the Lord. Then mom also comes the next day. She also gets the darshan. But mums are mums. He says, my son is going out of my hand. Hey, son, loving devotion to the Lord is okay. Learn how to cut the cloth, to the size. No interest. Ramakrishna Hari. Jai Jai Ramakrishna Hari. So she used to make him go to buy the cloth. He will go, but always used to make some blunder and come back. Then she used to make him sit at the shop. Again, he'll give them free. Father has done the hard work. He's giving away free. And in the end, when mother wants him to be normal, but a person who has had the darshan of the Lord and is continuously, see, mother also had the darshan, but she did not change. But Namdev Maharaj, because he was intoxicated with the Lord, he continued to change. He found no interest in all these daily chores of life. And in the end, at a very young age, she said, this fellow will not listen like this. She got him married. The wife now, before only mother was miserable because of the son. Now the mother and the wife both are miserable because of the son. The father is okay. He says, "Acha ho gaya, God." And one day she went to the Lord and she said, please give me my husband back. What is the point of marriage? This, that. And she started crying at the feet of the Lord. Now, Namdev had the darshan of the Lord. The father had the darshan of the Lord. The mother had the darshan of the Lord. Wife was left alone. The Lord gave her also darshan and made her his own devotee. From that day onwards, she stopped complaining. Now mother had two problems to handle. Why? Insistence that the world is real. Insistence that there are solutions in the world. All solutions are in the divine. In fact, from the divine point of view, no solution is required. Because it is complete. It is fulfilled. It is content. And this now continue. The story doesn't stop here. This Namdev Maharaj, we are talking about Matto Bhavati, Stabdo Bhavati, Atma Ramo Bhavati. We are explaining these 3 points. So one point is understood that mother didn't get it. But in Namdev, he started going to the temple and everyone started prostrating to Namdev Maharaj first and then prostrating to the Lord. And one day, Jnaneshwar Maharaj, Nivrittinath and Muktabai and the fourth brother, what was it? Sopandev. They came and they went straight to Vitthal. They didn't prostrate to Namdev Maharaj. The Namdev Maharaj felt bad. He said, everyone comes and prostrates to me and then they go to the Lord, and these fellows didn't do it. And he spoke out his mind. Hey, this is not right. You must prostrate to me first. I am a great devotee of the Lord. Then Muktabai, who was the youngest of the 4 brothers and sisters, she, arrogant devotee, demands devotion, demands prostration. So he says, you think you are realized? So, two masters, Namdev and Muktabai, who was a realized person at that time, they started arguing that you think you are realized. She says, you are still kacha. And went on. So now what to do? No, we need a neutral party. So they called Gora Kumbhar. He was a potter. And what he used to do? He used to take that mud out of which he used to make the pot and put it on the head of someone. And then say, he is cooked. He is baked. He is not baked. So he has already done to Nivrittinath, Jnaneshwar Maharaj, Sopandev, Muktabai. They are cooked. So now he is neutral. So he takes the mud, puts it on the head of the Namdev and he says, hey, uncooked. Namdev becomes very, very disturbed. See, having darshan of the Lord is not enough. So, he says, now what do I do? He started praying to the Lord with even more fervor. And the Lord one day appeared to him. He says, you make Jnaneshwar your teacher. And you go to Visoba, who was I think he was a butcher. So he is breaking all his paradigms. He says, you go to that butcher. He is your guru. And that butcher is a disciple of Jnaneshwar Maharaj. No, he comes to Jnaneshwar Maharaj. Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, you go to Visoba. So he goes to Visoba. They say, oh, he is in the temple. So he goes to the temple. Opens the door of the temple. He sees, this Visoba, he is lying with his feet on the Shivalinga. Becomes very angry. And to such a person I have been sent, and he is my guru. Hey, take your feet off the Shivalinga. He says, if you want to take it out, you take it out. So he lifted the feet and he put it on the side. The moment he was leaving the feet, The Shivalinga moves from there and comes under his feet. So wherever, and he gets exhausted, he takes his feet wherever, pulling here, there, wherever he goes, the Shivalinga. Now there is no place for, he gets exhausted. But in that exercise of taking his feet from one place, no words were spoken by the teacher, by Visoba. Only act, one word. If you feel I am doing something wrong, you take it. You keep wherever there is no Lord. And wherever he took, Shivalinga appeared. In that exercise, Namdev got transformed. Knowing Lord, having the darshan of the Lord, having the revelation of the Lord in your life is one thing. But recognizing the entire creation is not other than the Lord is another thing. So all the arrogance that I am a great devotee of the Lord, there and then it vanished. And he became a great devotee. He became a realized master there and then. See? Atma Ramo Bhavati. Similar is the story of Vishwamitra, who was arrogant with regard to his penance that he had done, and his entire penance in his life was a reaction to the sage Vashishta who had defeated him. And when he becomes a Raj Rishi, then he becomes, what are the other rishis? Huh? Maharishi, Raj Rishi, then Maharishi, and then Brahma Rishi. From Maharishi to Brahma Rishi, only one virus was still in his head. And that virus was, I have to become Brahma Rishi. And when he goes to the heavens, and Brahmaji says, and he says, please, I am ready for being a Brahma Rishi. Please, only if you say I am Brahma Rishi, I will become Brahma Rishi, otherwise I can't. He says, that is not my jurisdiction. For your journey, sage Vashishta has to declare that you are Brahma Rishi. That was the last pill that he had to swallow. What he was reacting against, yes, he gained great status. He became a great person. From a king, he has become a Maharishi. But to become a Brahma Rishi, Sage Vashishta, he goes to Sage Vashishta, first time he touches his feet. And Sage Vashishta says, no. Brahma Rishi Vishwamitra, please get up. Then there is no ecstasy after that, there is no joy. Because thing has been worked out. So Atma Ramo Bhavati. This is that disposition within your heart and mind, wherein everything that you come in contact with, experience, think, everything, good and joy, instances that are coming towards you, obstacles, everything, what you see, hear, touch, feel, taste, ideate, conceptualize, whatever is coming, everything is seen as, first, as an expression of the Lord, and second, as nothing but other than the Lord. A Vedanti will say that I am in everything is in me. Similarly here also, that this Atma Rama Bhavati, he is reveling in his own self, and because he is reveling in his own self, this transformation in his vision, when he opens his eyes, or even if he is with his open eyes, because Namdev Maharaj did not sit in meditation after that incident, there and then everything gets transformed. This is the This is the stage that we have to get to. By studying these texts, clarity is gained. We don't have some figment of idea in our head. I am a devotee. Devotion means chanting the name of God. What does chanting of the name of the Lord must lead to? These are the three stages. Everything that we are seeing. If this is not happening, these symptoms are not recognized within yourself, understand somewhere we are going wrong. And don't go straight away to the last symptom, which is Atma Ramo Bhavati. Begin from where you are. The first step is not to be disturbed by anything, nor becoming an impetus to disturb anything or anyone by thought, word or deed in your life. That's the first step as a result of this unbounding love in your heart. Ready to serve, wanting nothing from this world. And in this way, such a person continues to revel in the self, the Atman. How did he get there? By chanting the name of the Lord. Who is saying? Sage Narada. Who is Sage Narada? The greatest devotee of the Lord. So is there any confusion between Lord and the self? No, they are one and the same. Otherwise, why would he say it? He is saying it out of his own experience. Therefore, in this manner, these first six, how many sutras we did? 6 sutras. They create a general picture of what devotion is. And now the next 8 sutras in the section 2 will expound upon what is the exclusive nature, what is the uniqueness of this supreme devotion. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Ram Krishna Hari Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hari. 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 Ram Krishna Hari Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hari.